Hey guys, Tomboy601, and today we're taking a look at one of the pirate ships. Now, I was off working on a cruise ship when this ship came out, so I didn't get to cover it then, but I did want to give it a go. I did want to try it out because, well, there's a couple of interesting things about La Perla Azul. Because, well, traditionally, or what it's supposed to be, is a Spanish cruiser. It's Spanish from World of Warships on PC, but instead it is pirate content that's being released as a pan-European ship. And I guess, hey, Spain is part of Europe, so that all works. Who knows? Maybe we get Spanish cruisers down the line. But anyway, what is La Perla Azul? And the best way I can think about it is this is a ship that we've built totally into torpedoes because it kind of invites you to do that, especially with the unique commander that came out with the ship, Marisa La Loca. Pretty much all of her skills are built towards torpedoes. So, as a result, we're going to use the torpedoes on this ship. And they do perform decently well. You'll see how they do in this game. I think this game represents a very good example of how it really depends on the match, because you'll notice for the majority of the match, ships are running away from us. And fun fact, torpedoing ships that are running away from you, kind of difficult, kind of a hard thing to do, even when you have 90 knot torpedoes like this thing does. That's right, this thing has some crazy 90 knot torpedoes that do some decent damage, 11,000, but because of the way we have her built, specifically with with huge amounts of stealth, these torpedoes come out of nowhere and surprise pretty much anyone. Anyways, La Perla Azul, what do we got? Well, we have sonar, which this Sommer CE is finding out about now, as well as as well as a torpedo. We have a smoke screen, and then we have a heel as well. Our main guns are interesting. They listen, they are not the main thing. They are 203s, which are respectable. They're absolutely like respectable shells. Fairly long reload on them of 11 seconds, which, like I said, it's a decent chunk of time. The torpedoes is kind of where we focus it because they have a reload of only 47 seconds. We have 4 racks of them, 90 knots, and they can catch people definitely unaware, especially because in our build, we have a 1.4 kilometer detectability on them, which is incredibly stealthy, especially for ones that are going 90 knots. So, you saw, we bullied the Sommers. Sommers is taken care of, and now you can see, I guess, what the strength of La Perla Azul is, which is the ability just to throw out these torpedoes, right? We aimed these torpedoes for the hood, and the hood is long gone, but because of the way this game works, Flanders decided that he wanted to, not be in the same grid square as the rest of his team, which good on him, but as a result, gives us the ability to hit him, because that's just how the randomness of the ship works, and you do need ships to sort of push into you in order for this to be effective. You can see our torpedo range covers half the map, which is very impressive, but it's only a maximum of 12 torpedoes, so you do kind of have to get lucky, and it's not like the torpedoes do a huge chunk of damage, right? 11,000 is big, it's decent. Actually, it's not big at all. It's kind of middling, and especially given how lucky you need to be sometimes, but it's completely respectable. It's kind of well within the realm for the pan-Europeans, but just being able to pump out this many torpedoes is sort of the charm of La Perla Azul. Now, La Perla Azul was in the shop. I believe it is still purchasable this update. It was last week. I don't know if they've removed it. Nope, it's still purchasable right now. So if you like what you see in the ship, you are able to go into the shop and purchase it for the normal tier 7 premium price of 17,500 doubloons. Would I purchase it? Probably not. Unless, like, you're Spanish and you want a ship like that represents your country, because listen, I understand people are like, that's part of the reason I think Atlantico is so popular. Also, Atlantico is a fun ship, but people like being in a ship that hails from their country. So if you're Spanish, maybe consider picking this up. Though, but as far as how it performs, it is definitely a temperamental ship. It is a ship that requires certain conditions to be met for you to be successful in it. It requires that your team plays fairly well. You can do fairly well even when your team kind of collapses around you, because if you can get people to push into you, then you can kind of stay stealthy. You'll do okay. But if someone knows that you're around and you're going to be slinging torpedoes at them and they know the direction because you're kind of spotted, but you're far enough away, 3 torpedoes at the extent, the ranges that this thing has, they provide fairly large gaps, and any sort of maneuvering is going to put you outside of those shells. And, that's just kind of how it's going to be when you are dealing with a ship that is built around torpedoes, right? There's a reason that the ships that are the most successful with them are destroyers. It's because they're small, they're stealthy, they're able to get onto the flanks easier, and they can hide so you don't know which way those torpedoes are coming from. When you do know which way the torpedoes are coming from, it makes it a bit harder to hit. Of course, La Perla Azul, once again, its strength is the volume of the torpedoes. That 40-second reload on it is incredibly impressive. And that can definitely help you, because that puts it up there with some of the top torpedo boats as far as a reload goes, and you got 4 launchers of them, so you can kind of keep flipping back and forth with some incredibly long range. Anyways, you can see we're kind of staying at the edge on the outskirts. This is not a ship, even though it has a smoke sonar combo, this is not a ship that you want to be pushing up real close with. The the armor characteristics of it can be described as not great. And also just the gun layout is a bit weird. You have two-barreled guns on the back, and then your front gun is triple-barreled. It's wild. It's it's a choice. But it is it's what this ship has, and it does make that sort of calculus of which way should I be using this ship, because technically you have more of your firepower off the rear, but like the front of the boat isn't that bad, but it's also just weird having triple, as we pick up, I guess, a torpedo hit on, I'm gonna assume, a battleship. Yeah, we pick up a torpedo hit on Hood. It makes a weird like calculus as far as how you're supposed to use the ship, but it is, like I said, what it is. As far as the ship goes, the rear firing angles are probably the better, so you kind of want to use it in this sort of retreating posture of firing over the shoulder. And as Hood goes down, I believe, or do we get this kill? Nope, we don't. Going on to our 3rd assist of the match. Anyway, Z23 pops up here. We'll go ahead and use those 203s to engage him. The damage from the 203s isn't the best. We'll be clear on that one. It is not the most impressive thing. The other thing, though, that we saw while we were engaging him was a certain Miyoko charging full steam ahead. And if a Miyoko wants to charge full steam ahead, it means it's gonna give us the opportunity to try out the good old AP. So Cleveland running away right here, but I'm more just waiting for this Miyoko to come around the corner. Thankfully he runs aground right there, so we are able to get another free shot off on him. And where's that Miyoko? There he is. He's coming around the corner. Cleveland, though, probably the more deadly, just because he does have his radar. But we flipped the AP because we can see Miyoko cruising along, and just at that angle, you have to use the AP. We can see what the AP does here. We thought we were going to get a kill, and it's a bit of a disappointment, the AP. As we get another assist. We're not getting very many kills on this one, folks. But Miyoko goes down. We get a couple more defends. We are racking up the defend ribbons. That is the good thing here. And both Cleveland and the Z-23 kind of pop up, and a lot of times people are like, hey, you know, when a destroyer chooses to reveal itself, you need to go after the destroyer. And this is an example of target prioritization right here. Cleveland, close to death, has the higher DPM. He's going to be the bigger threat. Z-23 still firing, which tells us he's going to remain lit for a little bit longer. We can go ahead and take our time, as you know, we are whittled down to very low amounts of health, and we don't have any more heals really left in us. But we are going to be able to get Z-23 just close enough to death for someone else to finish him off, and for us to get the helping hand. Who we did end up, did we kill the Cleveland? I don't know. We haven't done a lot of killing, but we've done a decent amount of damage, 100,000, which is kind of on the higher end of what I got out of this ship. So, you know, it's not a DPM monster. It is not something that is going to go out there and win the game based on DPM. It is a harasser. It is something that is going to force the enemy ships to not want to push in, to force them to have to consider the cost of movement. That's going to dissuade them from it. And when they do push in, it's going to force them to be kind of head on a swivel, because hopefully they realize, or maybe they don't, that you have just ungodly amounts of torpedoes in order to ram down in their direction. And if they choose not to maneuver, it's going to end in a not good way for them, as Fiji is taking some pretty decent chunks out of us, but thankfully we are able to match, and he's set on double fire, and we have some torpedoes that are looking pretty good towards him. This should go ahead and finish him off here. Hey, there we go. There's our second kill of the match. You know, we've had a hand in damaging 7 of the 9 ships, which, you know, isn't too bad, especially when one of them is still floating. Anyways, guys, that match, I think it's like 3,400 XP, which is a very good game XP-wise. A lot of that coming down to, I think, the defense and the amount of damage we put out on those destroyers. But guys, if you like videos like this, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day. See ya.